ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined once again, as always, by SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
Sunny Monday here in Rochester, New York.
Oh, we got to start. You know what?
Now we can talk positive about the weather.
Yeah, but how long is that going to last?
A few days, and then it'll, yeah.
Although, to be fair,
we're about to hit our stride.
Yeah, to be fair, over the weekend, it went from beautiful to torrential thunderstorm downpours to hail at one point.
Which is fun.
Yeah, it got a little bit brutal.
And honestly, I had one of the most enjoyable playoff Sundays I've ever had.
Yes, it was incredible. All sports were incredible. I'm sure another person had a good time. It was Teddy Bear too. Nick Steblenko, you had a good weekend of sports?
I had an amazing weekend, and much of it had nothing to do with sports.
That's depressing. Yeah, you said you weren't around during one of the most important weekends for sports.
I enjoyed a quiet afternoon and evening down at our hunting cabin on Saturday, and then on Sunday I spent a wonderful day with my mother.
Boo!
You're booing Mother's Day.
Yep.
Even you would boo.
My
mom
let me watch the Clippers game.
Oh, your mom is just so nice.
She's great.
I did some gardening. I spent time in the sun.
Wow.
And I spent time with my mother.
Gardening
on Mother's
terrible.
Day.
You know, I have a tradition on Mother's Day. I call my father and say thank you for being a mother and a father on Mother's Day.
Okay.
But if you looked at the games, then you would have seen the real celebration of Mother's Day was right there.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody was talking about it.
Sunday was a big day.
There were pink baseball bats everywhere.
There was a lot that went on over the weekend. There was the draft was a thing. Apparently, it was
a thing.
No, we had a lot of fun talking about the first round, and then after that, it kind of just went away.
Yeah, the second and third was nice, and then you just start getting a little more passive.
Well, I mean, everybody from the third and fourth. I mean, well, sometimes not the third, but the fourth round on, they're basically guys that are getting a shot to make the team.
That is true.
I was passively paying attention on Saturday.
So was I, but today we're going to be passively doing nothing. We're going to be aggressively talking about NBA, MLB, NHL, all your fantasy needs. But coming out of the first break, we got Nick Steblenko, NBA lineup breakdown. You ready, Nick?
I'm ready.
You actually going to make a lineup today?
I am, 6-9? I'm ready to go.
You are 6-9, that's correct. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Now, let's get back to it. The Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show.
Let's do this.
Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
Not only did Nick take a break from life over the weekend in his cabin retreat, but he also took a break from getting his butt whooped at NBA.
Butt whooped, huh? I mean, because, I'm 4 out of the last 5 on you, John, so I'm not really sure where that came from.
Zach, how many times do we keep telling him, make a lineup over the weekend, don't forget,
Make a lineup when you don't have any internet connection over the weekend, you're right.
Hey, Daily Fantasy Sports, you can make it on the ride there. You could drive and click some buttons on StarFantasyLeague.com.
Drive and text, that's a good idea.
Teddy Bear, too, just talk some internet smack.
Yep, all of you drivers out there, make sure that you're texting according to John Old, because that's
then we'll get a PSA about don't text and play fantasy sports.
Just pull into your local pharmacy parking lot. I don't think Nick even has a smartphone.
Do you guys understand where I was on Saturday? In the sticks.
I don't understand the term
booms.
the sticks. I don't get that.
There was.
I think because it's the woods.
I guess.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be in the trees, not the sticks?
In the forest.
There you go. In the forest.
I was in a wooded area. I was not in contact with much of society. If you had met any of these folk down there, the lovely folk of Rushford, New York, you might have been set back a couple years.
Isn't that folks?
Folk. No, they're folk. They're called folk down there.
Oh.
Yeah, not folks. That's good people. The good folks of blank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Grouping of folk.
So they're the good folk.
Yeah, all right. We got to stop BSing. That's what we tend to do on this.
Folk.
Yeah, that's what we tend to do on the Star Fantasy League show. We need to get into NBA lineup breakdown. It's the playoffs. There may or may not be 2 or 3 more days left of playing daily fantasy on StarFantasyLeagues.com. But once you're done with that, NHL, MLB, still going on, still going strong.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with tonight, right? The Spurs. If the Spurs close out, we're losing a day.
That is correct.
So we'll see what happens.
And then if Indiana closes out, then we have no days.
Does that mean we have to root for Portland?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to be rooting for my Brooklyn pick to come through because they did win the first one.
I was pretty pumped up about that.
Let's be honest, Zach.
The first one's the easy one.
Yeah, well, Zach called the biggest upset of the weekend, saying when LA Clippers were down 20, he's like, "Oh, they're coming back and winning this game." There is proof of that.
It's proof.
That did happen.
I was pretty excited.
I'm just happy I didn't tweet back, "LOL, this is cataloged when it actually doesn't happen." But
I'm not sure whether the fact that I have them winning the series or the fact that I had them coming back in that game was more exciting.
Oh, yeah, no, coming back.
But then again, that would have been the series, so it was kind of a dual upside.
True. All right, let's get right into your lineup, Nick. $100,000 salary cap, 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 center, 2 utility. That's any player you want. Got to stand with that cap. Get the most points. Win the most money.
Easy, right?
Easy game. I was waiting for somebody else to steal my line.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where are we starting? Who are you going with?
We are going to start with Joe Johnson. He is at $11,001.
Ooh, and I don't like the $1.
Yeah.
If he was 11,000, I'd be cool. No, of course. I love Joe Johnson's been taking over.
Very consistent.
Yep.
Been relied upon for a lot of the scoring. We saw last game that Paul Pierce did a great job on LeBron James, actually.
That takes a lot of the offense.
That took a lot out of him, and I think he'll step up when he needs to. But I think right now Joe Johnson is. I mean, he's been the real constant.
Yeah, what a
throughout
nice
the playoffs.
resurgence from Joe. It's very nice to see him playing well.
It's crazy. There's 2 different days of NBA going on. I think him and George Hill have been the standouts from a consistency standpoint. They're both around the exact 25-ish area, and when you're at 11,000, that's exactly what you want from these guys.
And Kevin Garnett's been killing it with 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, killing it as in can't really
Hanging
stand
out on
up.
the bench.
Yeah, he's kind of having some trouble. They
Killing
don't have any
to
big.
get back
Andre
to his
Blatch
seat.
will kill you. Mason Plumlee's going to kill you. Don't put any big in this game from that team.
Do you think if this was Kevin Garnett of 2 years ago, they would be the clear-cut favorite?
Well, do we also
Not favorite.
Do we also get Paul Pierce of 2 years ago as well? Then yes.
Well, yeah, then definitely.
I would still say no.
Do we get Darren Williams'
He
corpse?
says no.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I would
Williams-
say no. 2 years ago?
Can I have Darren Williams' corpse from 2 years ago?
years ago.
2 years ago when they were on the Celtics, didn't they lose to the Heat?
Yeah, in Game 7.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And this is a much better
I
sculpted team
wouldn't
than
put
that.
them as a clear-cut favorite. You guys said that favorites.
All right, maybe not
They're
clear-cut,
Oh,
but they
well,
would
I
have
would-
been just at the top.
Yeah.
All right, I would still say Miami would win that.
Well, that's because you're a Miami fan.
I am
Why
not
are
a
we?
Miami
This is
fan.
like fantasy booking, guys. You're hypothetical, just all over the place. Let's move on.
All right, my second guard is going to be Manu Ginobili. He's been right around 25 fantasy points the past 2 games, and those were still blowouts for San
Yeah,
Antonio,
considering he's
so.
a sixth man type, he's one of those guys. Even if it is a blowout, he tends to play a little bit more than everybody else because that's his team.
Except for Game 1. Game 1 was really odd. I didn't understand that. That didn't make a lot of
because
sense.
that got out of hand really quickly. That just kind of Aaron Baines played like 30 minutes in that game.
We only got 2 games here. You know how much you got to put these guys in.
Yeah, that's correct. This is where name value kind of becomes a thing. Actually, usually you're like, oh, you got all those big names in there. What are you doing?
Very true.
These are the guys that are going to get the minutes.
This is true. It's playoff time. Big names are going to get the big minutes.
Except
All
for
right.
Kevin Garnett.
Well, I think one big name that we're going to see a huge game out of, regardless of if they win or not, is LaMarcus Aldridge. So I put him in. It's got to be a last-ditch effort. I know they're down 3-0. He's got to do something, and even if they lose, he's still going to have an enormous role. So
Llama's killing.
Yeah, good
himself,
chance of being
though.
the top player of the night, though, I think.
See, the thing is, he could be the top player of the night. He could also get you like 28. That's the problem with him this series. He's either like ginormous or absolutely shut down by Duncan and Splitter.
yeah, but if absolutely shut down is 30 fantasy points in the playoffs,
but he's around what 20.
He's 19,350.
See, that's the problem. I'd rather spend a little bit more money and get LeBron, who's only at 20,563, only because his absolute floor is around 40-ish.
No.
Yeah.
35.
Okay, fine. 35 at worst, and I don't in a closeout game. I don't
36. This isn't a closeout
I'm sorry.
game.
It's
are you
basic.
talking
Sorry,
about?
basic. Okay, you really want to see them go 2-2? It's basically a closeout game.
I hope so.
Of course, Nick hopes so.
If it goes 2-2, I will be like...
You would rather see
picked it.
Miami? Yeah, that's what I picked. That's because I want to see that.
I'd like to see more entertaining,
And I think it can
more
happen.
games.
Yeah? So what is your angle?
Yeah,
there?
what is the argument
I don't
here?
want more Miami games. I don't want to watch more. They bore me. They used to play a crappy
But
style
the more
of
they
basketball.
win, the more we'll see.
That's true.
Go Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
My
stand up.
My second forward is going to be Kawhi. He's just absolutely on fire. in
For
this
how
series.
bad he was in the first series against Dallas, he's just the
on fire.
opposite end of the series. I told you, every time they play up-tempo, Kawhi is the guy because he's the only young gun on that team.
Kawhi's your guy.
Even last game, he didn't have the same stat line that he's had in some of the other games, but he had 16 and 10.
Yep.
Which is great.
He's hovering right around 30 fantasy points, and that's phenomenal value for $13,000.
Correct.
So the first center I'm going to have is Thiago. I think he has a better value than Rollo does. I know that I know
Rollo really dropped off after those first 2 games where he was kind of getting whatever he wanted, and now he's kind of just going back to his role. Rollo's a role player. Look at that.
But I think Lopez is going to be right around 20 fantasy points, and if that's what Thiago is going to get, you just saved like 2,000 or 3,000 right there.
Yeah, it's almost 3,000. Yeah, Rollo's at 12 plus. Thiago's at 9,800.
I personally think Thiago has a bigger chance of putting up a dud.
Really?
Well, I would agree with you there, but
depending how much
you got to make sacrifices when it comes to 2 games.
Yep. Depends how much Boris Diaw plays as well.
Yep.
He's been taking some minutes out of there.
I like Bosch.
He's my second center. I think he has the highest ceiling, obviously, far and away of all the centers. So.
We made fun of him for the first game of the series. We said, hey, he's really not going to do that much. It turns out he's one of the more consistent Miami Heat players.
He still doesn't reach 30, ever.
That's very true. I don't think he has reached it in this series, has he?
I don't think so. I think he had 27 or 28.
Check.
Yeah, we'll see.
He hit 29.75
in the first game.
Of course he did, and then nothing else.
27, 22.
I mean, still,
consistent.
he's 12,000. Almost 13,000, but he's basically the top center.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good. He stretches the court, so he's got a pretty good advantage when Kevin Garnett's out of the game.
Yep. Very true.
Which is most of the
game. Most of the time. KG gets 20 minutes. He gets 37.
Yep. All right, Nick, who you got for your 2 utility players?
First one's going to be Tony Parker, who is torching
I was really hoping you were holding off Tony Parker because I have him in the same spot.
Spider-Man.
Torching him. Oh, my God. He's just dominating Lillard this series.
Well, it's not that hard.
Well,
in the playoffs, it's a different beast. I know what you're saying, but in the playoffs, there has to be some sort of a step up from every player on your team. If Lillard is not stepping up in the series whatsoever.
Tony Parker's the same thing. Fast-paced series. He's a guy that they want to get out there and run, and he's been doing that. And he's been very aggressive, which is what Pop has encouraged him to do since the end of last series.
Yep,
He's like, if you're going to take 25 shots, you're going to take 25 shots. Just go for it.
There's a reason he really is a playoff killer, and you're seeing it right now, especially against a subpar defender.
He listens to Pop.
Yep. All right, who you got? Who's your last guy?
Last one is going to be Sean Livingston.
Ooh.
He got 30 minutes per game in the last 3 games, and he's actually doing pretty well. So
okay.
I'm going to roll that out. 8,800.
He's doing okay-ish. Same money. I still like Boris Diaw, man. I don't know why. I got him and Splitter in. They've been fine. They're both getting around 15 to 20 points.
Boris gets 20 minutes. Somehow he's been able to get 18.
He's done that the entire season.
I don't know how that happens.
I'm going to roll with the Brooklyn boys.
Okay.
Why not?
You're still going with your Brooklyn pick.
I'm
you
still
love
going with
the
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, yeah.
All right, go Brooklyn.
Can't back down for my guns now.
Go Paul Pierce. Go Kevin Garnett. I'm still bleeding Celtic green at heart.
Hit him in the lane, boys.
All right, coming after the break, it's time to break down everything that went over the weekend in Jonald's Mailbag. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Jonald's Mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Hello and welcome to Jonald's Mailbag.
I can't tell you how excited I am after the weekend when we come back on the show and we just have so much stuff to talk about, especially this time of year.
Yeah, you know what's really weird? Sometimes there's not that much to talk about outside of one or two major stories, and then we kind of just spend the whole time talking about this one. We're not gonna lollygag. We're not gonna just do stupid tangents like we love to do.
So you're telling me this entire mailbag is going to be focused on Donald Sterling and Michael Sam?
We're not going to talk about either of them at all because it's so overplayed in the media, the Michael Sam thing. Good for him. Hopefully he makes the team. That's all I'm going to say.
Turn on the TV and you can find out some information.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about things that actually matter. Donald Sterling, I don't care. It doesn't really matter. He's a 7th-round pick. I'm sorry.
None of this matters.
None
of it matters
in this day and
the
age.
Grand scheme of society.
I'm saying in this day and age,
Donald Sterling's a 7th-round pick.
We shouldn't be caring about if you're gay or straight. We should not.
No, I completely agree.
I don't want to even talk about
it.
But we have to.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, then we don't have to talk about it, but it's still important.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I hope it's not.
Then why is everybody talking about it?
Because
why are people that both found this endearing and disgusting? Why?
It's because people are sad.
Bigots.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
They're sad.
Well,
human
that's
beings.
why we're talking about
very
it.
Newsworthy.
Is to tell them to shut up.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. Just shut up and move on. We're allowed to say that, right? Actually, we're on the radio. We can say that for the hell we want.
By the way, the excerpt they had up at the Donald Sterling interview was hilarious.
It is pretty funny.
He's going to come across looking even worse than he
on it.
normally
Yeah,
looks.
that man is on his way out.
He's not even all there.
No, he's not all there. That was the
Absolutely
thing. Is
tell
you're
that
just
he is
like,
not
what
there.
are you talking about?
Ow!
He was saying like Magic Johnson wasn't a good
Role model
for the kids of L.A. Okay, all right, buddy.
We're going to move on after that.
And he thinks the other owners are going to stick up for him.
They already said they aren't.
It's amazing.
Good for him, Donald Sterling.
It's all great.
Keep it up, buddy.
All right, let's jump right into the mailbag. Jimmy H. writes, the second round of the NBA playoffs showed signs of life on Sunday with the Clippers and Pacers coming back from double-digit deficits to win. Which win was more impressive?
The Clippers, no doubt. The Wizards game, although it was Paul George lit it up, and Paul George had the biggest game.
Yeah, 39 and 12, 7
of the
made
playoffs.
threes. Holy crap.
He went nuts. He had 28 points in the second half.
Yep.
It was ridiculous. It was fun to watch. But what we really saw towards the end of that game, the last few minutes of that game, was a Pacers team that has been there before and has experienced games like this before, where they've had to come down the stretch and they've had to put up big buckets and they've had to get physical in the half court. And a Wizards game that when they're knocked out and when it's over, we'll just be saying this is a team with a lot of hope for the future that just isn't ready for that next step yet.
They're the Pacers from, 2 years ago? When the Pacers did some things in the playoffs, you're like, oh, look, that Pacers team's going to be good next year, which I think the Wizards could probably be a top 3 seed in the East next year because they're just really good at their core.
Yeah, if they can pad their bench, I mean, the bench is a clear issue for them. They ended up having Al Harrington, Andre Miller.
I could not believe
and Drew Gooden playing some significant minutes down the stretch.
In the fourth quarter, they had Al Harrington playing the last 3 or 4 possessions of the game. Yeah, Gooden was getting some minutes. The professor was playing some minutes.
I think they felt like they needed somebody that could step up and take some leadership and hit a big shot. But
I can't believe Gortat played
Al Harrington is not that guy.
Gortat didn't play the entire fourth quarter, and I have no idea why.
I don't care if Al Harrington's a veteran. He has never been that guy that can hit the big shot. So he's always the guy that can jack up a three.
Yeah,
though.
Randy Whitman reared his ugly head in that fourth quarter. They were missing shots. He was putting people in and out, didn't know what to settle with, and it hurt them badly.
Yeah, in the press conference, he went on a rant that the youth is not an excuse and so on and so forth. But that's what's going to end up. You don't want to use excuses. It's a reality. I mean, that is what happened. That's why the game ended up the way that it did. They came in with a bang in the first half. They got a huge lead, and they fizzled.
Yeah, it's safe to say that Indiana kind of was a benefactor of Washington falling apart, and the Clippers really went out and took it from Oklahoma City. Completely different thing.
They were also a benefactor of Paul George going on a hot streak. He just started hitting everything from three land. That opens everything up.
They shouldn't have been in that game because I think it was 7 minutes without scoring a field goal on offense. Washington did in the third to fourth quarter. They went a really long time without scoring.
The Pacers can lock it down better than any other team in the league. So
I think the one thing that you can take away from that game is that Paul George is a bona fide superstar. That guy can get it done at any time.
Yeah, but he's got to show it more consistently because he really disappeared the second half of the season.
That's fine, but yeah.
He kind of did at times.
But there are times where you've seen some superstars that in today's game that have done that in their younger years as well.
Yeah, he's still very, very
young. He is very young. That is true.
He has a long way to go, and he is a bona fide superstar.
But yeah, Clippers.
He's bona fide.
Yeah. Clippers, incredible. That comeback was amazing. Scotty Brooks.
Yeah, we saw Scotty Brooks show up to the game. We saw what we've seen over the past couple of years where the Thunder are either hitting their jack-up shots or they're not. That's basically what ends up happening. And one major issue, I forget, somebody talked about this yesterday, and I loved hearing it, is that Scotty Brooks should be making the call that Kevin Durant should be fed in the post over and over and over. Every time they get down the court, and what happened was when they were actually doing it, they were doubling him, and he was having trouble getting out of it. But regardless, when Dirk Nowitzki won the championship with the Mavericks, that's exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And you have to take advantage of his length and his shot. He can hit any fadeaway in the game, and you have to go to him down the stretch.
He's the ultimate mismatch in the NBA.
Except apparently Chris Paul guarding him down the stretch just allowed double teams to come in, and he did have trouble getting out of those double teams.
Yet he got 40 points.
Yeah, correct.
So, I mean, the most ridiculous thing that I saw in this game was the 3 seconds in between the game clock and the shot clock.
At the end of that game.
Yeah, with Scott Brooks having no timeouts and not telling to foul when they were down 2. And so best case scenario, if Blake Griffin hadn't botched everything up and taken an early shot, was that they would have gotten a rebound with under 3 seconds left on their end of the court and had to go the full length for a shot.
That was all stupid.
So
no fouls,
it was a mess.
shooting too early, and then almost getting the game-winning shot. What is going on?
But no, it was an unbelievable comeback. The Pacers, I think, would have won the series even if they lost that game, but they're about to lock it up, and this Clippers series could go 7.
Mm-hmm. That is, I hope it goes 7. This is going to be exciting. All right, let's move on. I want to ask a question to Nick real quick. Mikey C. writes, the Anaheim Ducks started a rookie goalie in Game 4 against the LA Kings, and he posted a shutout. Do the Ducks have any chance to win the Cup if they keep rotating goalies like this?
Oh, I think so. I mean, they're finding a way to get it done. I said this on Friday's show where if they play better in front of their goaltender, that's going to help them in the stretch. This is exactly what happened. They played much better in front of their goaltender, and I mean, Gibson, what a story. The guy came from Newfoundland where he was playing for their AHL team, and he flew 3,000 miles to play in that game. That's just hats off to you, man. That's a fantastic way to go to start into the NHL. So I think they have a great chance. So.
The group of goalies that they have on Anaheim, it's not the same as, say, when Roberto Luongo was struggling with Corey Schneider coming in, because nobody's got that big goalie ego on the team. They're not big-time veterans.
Yeah, if anyone was going to be that, it would be Hiller, and that's just not the case.
Right, and that's not the case. So I think everybody's comfortable when they get called upon to get in the net and handle the game.
Are you surprised they took out Jonathan Quick after one period?
Yeah,
that
I didn't understand what was going on.
Zach and I thought he got hurt.
Injured,
No, Sutter said, their coach, said they should have pulled him earlier. Said he should have pulled him earlier.
That's really
2 goals against on, I think, 11 shots.
11 shots, yeah.
That's not odd. That's not out of the norm.
It'll be interesting to see how this series
especially
goes.
with how hot he was.
I think that's probably one of the worst moves I've seen from a coach.
Yeah, we go
NHL.
from a rookie...
And he's a well-respected coach.
A rookie posting a shutout and one of the best goalies in the playoffs getting pulled after one
A Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah, what's going on?
He was
what message
MVP.
are you saying to your team when you're doing
it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of times they'll pull a goalie because, you say something's wrong or he's just off his game.
Maybe 3 or 4 goal lead over the course of 2 periods. 2 goals in 1 period.
I've seen, you can see a lot in the playoffs where, maybe they get off to a really shaky start and you're just like, I want to make sure that his head's right. I don't think that's the case, though. Something's up there.
I can't remember ever seeing a 2-goal lead in the first period in that.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, we got to move on. We got one more question in the mailbag today. Josh S. writes, the 2014 NFL draft's in the books, and there was intrigue throughout. What is your biggest takeaway from the 3 days of the draft? 3 days. Oy.
3 days.
Too much.
And a possible extension into a 4th day, thanks to Goodell.
3 weeks.
If you'd had his way.
7 rounds, 1 day each.
The Bills are going to the playoffs?
Is that your real takeaway?
No.
All right, what's your biggest takeaway? We got a few minutes.
For Buffalo, it's that they made a bold move. I think that for the Bills, us being in Western New York, we have to talk about this. They made a bold move, and they're going all in right now. This is the team that they think is going to take them onto the playoffs
They've
for
certainly
the first time in 15 years.
They've certainly got the pieces now. It's just, is the quarterback the guy they think he is? We'll see in an entire season if he can play one.
Cleveland ended up getting 10 picks out of this draft.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was really impressive, regardless
10
of
picks
whether
they're going to need now.
Yeah. But hold on. They're losing Josh Gordon. We can't say enough about that. But they didn't draft any wide receivers. Their core beyond Gordon, anyways, was terrible. I mean, now they have nothing.
Yeah, I kept seeing tweets that were like, "Tell me that the Browns have a plan here. Like, what's going on with their wide receiving
They
core.
passed up on Marquise Lee. I mean, that was a guy, somebody flashy, and they passed up on a couple other guys that ended up going somewhere else. I mean, a team like Jacksonville's in the same position. They lost Justin Blackmon for the year, so they went and drafted Marquise Lee to pair him with Bortles. That's at least something interesting for your team to kind of build on.
They apparently, this was arguably one of the deepest wide receiver drafts.
And they didn't get anybody.
They just didn't go for any of it.
Yeah, Jacksonville got 2. They got Lee and Allen Robinson. So I mean, they went big.
The other thing is, though, I think that the Browns, with a new regime coming in, a new front office coming in, I think they're also going to face the fact that they're going to be building for a couple of years. And with Josh Gordon being out for a whole year is not going to help Johnny Manziel. It's not going to help anybody under center. So maybe they're focusing more on the running game.
It's definitely going to be a run-first offense. They don't really have a choice.
They don't have a running game either. That's the problem. And also the New York Jets, they're kind of bolstering their team as well. They drafted a tight end as well as 2 big wide receivers. So they're looking to help their guy. But Cleveland, they just drafted their guy and then did nothing around him.
Now Jordan Cameron just took a hit,
I'll also just say that draft grades aren't worth crap.
I don't believe them at all. I see teams that are both the winner and loser of a draft. Doesn't matter. All right, coming back, we're giving all of our value plays on StarFantasyLeagues.com for Tuesday. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League Show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the Team.
Deucey, Teddy,
All right.
we're back. And
It's
you know
good to
what?
be back.
It's Monday. There's a lot going on over the weekend, but today is all about talking about Tuesday. Tuesday's big. We got 3 sports still going on: NBA, NHL, MLB.
Let's do it.
There might be the last couple days we talk about NHL and NBA, so we're just going to kind of just go right through them.
Yeah, well, we're guaranteed to lose at least one game from the NHL. We're going into Game 7. Game 7 time.
It's sad.
It's exciting.
It's kind of sad. It's exciting, though,
It's exciting,
yes.
but it's also sad for fantasy.
As much as I hate the Rangers, I'm actually very happy that they came back to tie this series
Me
up.
too. I've been rooting for them.
Good for San Luis. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, hey, whenever you lose somebody that close to you in your life, it's nice to see you come out and have a nice game. So
Persevere.
persevere and move on.
All right, let's break down the 2 games we got going on.
All right, so we have the Rangers and the Penguins. I like the Rangers in this game. I think they're going to close it out. I picked them
because
to
the
win the
Penguins are
series.
massive choke artists.
I picked them to win the series, but the style of game they play is very suitable for Game 7. Very tight to the vest, close checking game, and blocking a lot of shots is always going to help.
You picked the Penguins to win the series?
No, I picked the Rangers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How about that backhand goal that Fleury let in?
Oh, my God. That's just a classic Fleury goal.
It was so bad.
I love that classic Fleury goal is a thing.
It is.
I know it is.
It was so
It's
bad. It
unbelievable.
was like, I mean, you could have stopped that.
Yeah, any one of us. Actually, I mean, I was a street hockey goalie.
He lets a soft backhand right in between his body and his arm.
It is just very classic of him. So I'm going to take Henrik Lundqvist, just under 17,000. So I think he's going to be the one to go with. And how about that? I picked him over Corey Crawford tomorrow night. That's a first time I have not picked Corey Crawford on a night that he was playing.
That's sad.
Okay. And then for my skater, I'm going to go with Benoit Pouliot. He's 7,700, and I know that he's not a top-notch guy, but in Game 7, I think Jason said this when he was on with us, it always seems to be a third or a fourth liner that comes up big in these games, and I've been saying stack his line the entire time, Pouliot, Brassard, and Zuccarello. Stack that line, but go with Benoit Pouliot. He had the winner in Game 7 in the first round. I think he's going to do it again. I think the Rangers are going to win this one. So
Perfect. What do we got from the second game? Since you already did all your winners in the first game.
Yeah, well, so as far as the second game, though, Minnesota plays surprisingly well at home. And I can't say to pick on Chicago because it just seems like whenever they get home, they get with the crowd and they get rolling. Whatever it is, it's working for them. So if you're going to pick a couple of guys from Minnesota, Nino Niederreiter, Charlie Coyle, and Mikhail Granlund are all doing really well at home. So, I don't know, Minnesota could be staring at a Game 7.
Nice.
We'll see.
We
They
love
tie this baby up.
We'll see. I mean, I'd be excited to see it. They're awesome.
They have looked so good at home. Chicago's had a lot of trouble handling their speed.
Very true.
Exciting stuff.
All right, I'm not going to lie. I'm really upset that you picked Benoit Pouliot because I'm not going to be able to pronounce that at the end of the show. You know I'm picking it.
You did okay. You missed the
Pouliot.
T.
Pouliot?
Pouliot.
Oh, whatever.
Pouliot.
Pouliot.
All right, we're going to move on from confusing hockey names to the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Washington, Indiana, this game that just went crazy, and also Oklahoma City, LA Clippers, another game that went nuts. There was some weird stuff happening. But
I think it's time, especially heading back home, that we can start to agree, Jonald, that Roy Hibbert is back.
Fine. I do
back.
I do have him listed on here. I'm not a believer, but at 10,405 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He's had 3 straight games overvalued.
I think the only thing prohibiting Roy Hibbert from fantasy relevance this next game is him getting into foul
Is
trouble.
it prohibiting?
Prohibiting.
Prohibiting.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. We're going to go with that.
He's the prohibitor.
Yeah, I completely agree. That sounds like something I would say. Oh, wait, I did say it. Prohibiting. All right, we're using that. That's happening. All right.
The prohibitor.
So, I mean, does Washington even have a chance to come back in that series?
Of course they do. They were winning. They were in complete control of that game
No.
until Paul George went nuts.
But you don't think that they are completely...
Unraveled.
Yeah, they're just demolished after that game. They're so let down after that.
You
were up by double digits.
It's a young team. I think they're going to have trouble coming out of that hole. I do.
Yeah, I think heading into next series, first of all, I don't think Washington's going to win, obviously.
No.
But heading into next series, I think this game is really going to show something for Indiana because they've got the foot on the neck right now.
Yep.
And if they can get it done in this next game in dominant fashion, they will be flying into the conference finals.
I don't think you'd have any
some
questions
rest.
either.
They could use some rest, too.
Yep.
That's why I like a lot of the Indiana guys, like for reasons you just said. Hill has been the most consistent guy in the series, 10,194. Paul George only 16,843, just got 51 fantasy points. He needs to put up another one of those games if they're going to continue.
Yeah, and I think even at 16,000, he's a steal.
Yeah.
Even if he ends up getting you 35, you're happy with that.
Yeah,
I think he will. So.
I mean, but I actually employed the last two times these guys played. I had Durant and Chris Paul, and they almost got me 100 combined.
And please don't play Al Harrington.
Yeah, no, I have him listed, but the sad thing is he got 23 minutes, got 21.5 points.
Again.
I hope to hell they don't play him again. It was sad to see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on the other side of the game, remember we talked about these value plays in Steven Adams and Kendrick Perkins, and I think combined they got like 38 minutes. It was kind of sad.
Yeah, neither of those guys are bringing anything. The whole your guys' little honeymoon with Kendrick Perkins is over, I'm afraid.
I know, I'm really sad about that. But I mean, I would almost go more flat by putting in Paul George as your most expensive guy, getting in Hibbert, obviously Beal, Ariza have both been solid. I think that's going to be how it goes. You just need to put in this flatter lineup and avoid somebody like Kevin Durant and just fade him and Paul and Westbrook, because you really can't afford it unless you put in guys like Adams or
Well, yeah,
Butler.
but you could do Westbrook and Paul, or you could do Durant and George if you're able to put in some other guards.
Yeah, we definitely have to find some interest. I mean, they were going small. This Clippers team, they're doing some weird things. They're killing a lot of the big man minutes.
Well, I mean, props to Doc Rivers for the way that he approached it down the stretch yesterday. That was a huge factor in their ability to win. He shuffled the lineup. He wasn't afraid to get some fresh blood in there, guys that weren't playing well. Matt Barnes wasn't playing well.
No.
But Crawford and Collison were huge. I mean, Collison in the fourth quarter was MVP.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
that was
he was aggressive. They got out on the run.
If they're playing
they utilized their speed, and Collison crossed over Westbrook a couple times.
Yeah,
it was pretty amazing.
But he also got destroyed pressing at half court like an idiot. That was horrible.
Yeah.
All right. Who you got for your play of the day? I think I know who it is, but
my play of the day is Kevin Durant.
Oh, really?
Because this is big time for him.
Yep.
At home, I think he'll get 50 fantasy points.
I'm going exactly against you. Where you were playing this up by saying it. Paul George. I think Paul George could get 50 again, 2 games in a row. He needs it.
Fine.
Paul George.
Stud.
Well, you're saving a lot of money over my Durant pick.
This is very true. All right, let's move on to baseball. A lot going on. Full 15-game slate. We're going to start with Stanology. These are stats that we think could help you out, and it's Stanology.
Yeah, we've got some stuff for you to look at. And honestly, going forward, I'm going to try to make more comments that are relevant to these stats rather than batting average, ERA, wins, stuff like that, batter versus pitcher. My one today is XFIP, which is expected fielding independent pitching.
XFIP.
And what it really does is it kind of operates as an adjusted ERA, or what an ERA should be, given the field behind. It assumes a league average of BABIP, which is batting average on balls in play. And it also assumes the league home run average to fly ball rate. So since BABIP and home run to fly ball rate regress near common league average for pitchers, XFIP gives us a real performance ERA.
Nice. Look at that.
Wow.
Nick's just like,
Mind
blown. Yeah, that's what we do on the Star Fantasy League show. We blow your mind. We give you these extra stats. That's Stanology for you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But outside of these numbers, we talk about them as the flow of conversation goes. You don't just have to look at one stat. You got to look at the scope of everything. Who pitchers are playing, hot streaks, where they're playing, what the weather's like. There's a bunch of factors to talk about.
And as we go forward in the Stanology segment, we're going to start to utilize not just the stats, but more helpful tips going forward.
Yep. All right, let's start it out by I like to look at pitchers first because they're the most expensive things on StarFantasyLeagues.com. That's really where you need to get your points, because if you don't and you lose some points with pitchers, you're pretty much your ship is just sunk.
I would say that the bigger factor, if you're looking to win head-to-head games and 50-50s, is going with pitchers first, because you need consistency in those types of contests. You don't need all the upside that you need in tournament play.
Yep.
And so I would definitely fill in pitchers first, but give it a look to hitters first for some of those GPPs, because if you're working on a stack,
you need some big numbers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pitchers out there tomorrow. I like a lot of them.
All right, let's go to see who. Give us one or two guys that you absolutely love based on matchups and why you like them.
I've got Adam Wainwright tomorrow against Chicago.
You got the big boy. No way.
I got the big boy.
He's a stud, really.
6-2 on the season with a 2.02 ERA and 52 Ks in 58 innings pitched. In 8 starts this year, he's allowed 13 earned runs.
Oof.
But 10 of those were given up in 2 starts against the Cubs. He's going up against the Cubs again.
Yep.
I'm not really concerned.
Yeah, they're not that great.
But that does mean that his ERA in the 6 other starts is .60.
Yeah. I mean, the Cubs are not good on offense. They're definitely a team you want to pick a pitcher against, and Wainwright is about as close to a sure thing as you can get tomorrow.
Yeah, opponents are batting 185 at home against him.
And we got to remember what a big value placed on strikeouts. That's really what you're looking for if you want a pitcher to produce for you. And this Cubs team is third most in the majors this year in strikeouts.
And he's got the most strikeouts of anybody pitching on Tuesday.
I was going to say, though, speaking of strikeouts, Steven Strasburg is still a really good value tomorrow. He's at 15,005. He's had 64 strikeouts and 47 in a third innings this year, and he's playing Arizona tomorrow, and Arizona has had an abysmal season so far.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with their pitching, but you know what? It sort of just kind of consumes the entire team when a team starts doing poorly. So could be really worth the value. You're going to see that price start going up as the season wears on.
And another pitcher that has quite a few strikeouts, is kind of his MO, is Cliff Lee, 13,570 at home against Anaheim. 51 strikeouts this season, 3.6 ERA. He's actually been pretty good at home, though.
Yeah, and he's actually done pretty good against the Angels as well. I mean, if you look at his numbers against the Angels, it's pretty solid. He's
got 26 strikeouts in 3 games at home, so that's not too bad.
Yeah. He's the guy that can produce some Ks.
Yep.
Very solid.
Averaging around nine strikeouts a game at home.
Yep.
Pretty solid. All right.
Those are a couple of good top of the line guys there.
Yeah, I mean, do you have anybody you like for a value pitcher if you can't get in all these big names? I see one on the board I'm looking at.
I like Drew Pomeranz.
Yep, that's the name I'm interested in. Why do you like Drew?
Well, he's 2-1. He did come out of the pen, and he came out after Dan Straley was demoted. So his fantasy points per game average is low, which is also going to equate to his low salary.
Yep.
He's at 4,600, but I mean, he's done really well in his 2 starts, and I don't know. I mean, I like their matchup against Chicago or the White Sox at home. I think it could be.
Oakland's getting pretty toasty.
Oakland is playing really. They're going to get run support. There's going to be a high over.
Yeah, I would look at stacking their offense tomorrow. They're going up against Scott Carroll. I think it's a good possible stack right there.
Yeah, where else are we heading for? Because obviously we talk about the good pitchers. We have to talk about the bad pitchers. Teams you're stacking against. Who do you have for the top for your stack list?
Well, I've got my stack is the Dodgers, who are facing Jacob Turner, who has just been dominated in 3 starts so far this year with a 6.75 ERA.
Yep.
The current Dodgers are hitting 0.515 against him on average. And he faced L.A. actually 2 starts ago and only was able to pitch 4 innings with 6 runs and 9 hits.
So he actually got that batting average right this time. That was funny.
0.515? 515 batting average? That one? All right, who else do we like?
You look at Yasiel Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, Hanley Ramirez, Matt Kemp.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. Miami has actually done okay this season. So this is a guy to definitely pick against.
I've noticed some big names having big nights against their current pitchers they're at. Victor Martinez, 7 for 21, 3 home runs, and he's on a hot streak right now.
He's my batter of the day.
He is?
He has been tearing it up, 19 for 49 in his last 13 games with 5 jacks and 14 RBIs, only 4 strikeouts. And Jimenez has been stinking it up a little bit this year.
Ubaldo has been bad.
2-4 with a 4.73 ERA, and Victor Martinez, higher batting average versus right-handed pitchers.
You know, Jimenez actually caught my eye at first because he's 2-0 in his last 2 starts, but with that lineup in Detroit, he's going to get shelled.
Another team we've been stacking recently is these Toronto Blue Jays. Melky, 86-64, 15 for 27, 2 doubles, 1 home run, and 3 walks against Justin Masterson, who has not been good this year.
Pair him with Joey Bats, man. That's all. That's a way to go this season.
Yeah, Bats as well, 6 for 19, 2 home runs, 6 walks.
Yeah, this is one of those games tomorrow night with Dickey and Masterson that could end up being a little bit of a run bath.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the highest over-under of the night, 9. So I would not be surprised trying to get as much as you can out of those 2 lineups.
Totally.
And coming up after the break, we're going to break down all of our value plays across major leagues for Tuesday.
I'm ready.
It's going to happen. We got a lot to recap.
It's great to be here with you, Donald.
I completely agree, of course. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
You guys like Stanology?
Stanology is fantastic.
If you like Stanology, if you don't like it, tweet us at SFL Show. It's our new recurring segment where we give you some interesting stats to look at in Major League Baseball, because that's all we're going to be talking about pretty soon.
Helpful tips. There's so much analysis to look at. The big difference in baseball compared to the other sports is that so much comes down to one guy facing another guy.
I was going to say there's a lot of information that can be kind of confusing. So if you have questions too, shoot them our way because there's more than you can handle.
We will break down any kind of fantasy-related questions in John Allen's mailbag. It's more than just the news.
There's only 24 different circumstances that can occur in baseball on the bases.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
3 different outs times 8 different people on the bases.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, we got to get to our value plays for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Only three sports, but not for long. NHL, Nick likes Henrik King Lundqvist.
Queen Lundy?
Oh, that's not nice. And hold on, Benoit Pouliot.
You got it.
Yeah, all right, I did it.
There you go.
On the NBA, Zach and I like Durant and Paul George. I think Paul George, for saving some money, could be definitely the play of the day.
Stud.
Like him. All right, MLB, we're going to go down the line. What do you like for batter and pitcher, Nick?
All right, my pitcher is going to be Steven Strasburg at 15,005, and I just think he's going to mow down a couple of Diamondbacks. And then my hitter, I'm going to go with Brandon Moss. He doesn't have any history against Scott Carroll, but Carroll's not good.
Who cares?
And it's a lefty versus righty, and Moss best cleanup.
We all know how little BVP matters. Adam Wainwright, 18,606 against Chicago, and Victor Martinez against Baltimore. Ubaldo Jimenez, 9,691.
All right, I'm going with Cliff Lee, 13,570 against Anaheim, and Melky Cabrera, 86,64 home against Cleveland, and Justin Masterson. That's going to be just a bloodbath.
We've only got so many more playoff days left, boys.
I know. We're going to be talking about baseball. There's going to be thousands of dollars in guaranteed prize pools for at least a few more days, and then when that's done, baseball. Tons of money. No, not. We're pretty far off from
soon.
Football.
It's coming.
Like
it's
I said,
coming.
There's free rolls every single day. We got a $1,000 free roll in baseball still coming.
Well, we'll have segments on season-long draft strategy in a couple months.
That's very true. Draft season-long. StarFantasyLeagues.com. That's the place to get it.
Yeah, buddy.
It's going to be exciting. Get your $5 free today. New account. Just tweet us at SFL Show with your username.
I'm doing it.
God, unless your name is Nick Steblenko.
I knew he was going to try again.
Teddy Bear 2, you get nothing.
My name's Teddy Bear 2.
You know what?
Steblenko.
And if you don't know what's going on, you're prohibited. Prohibited. Take it easy, guys.